In Uganda, I work with the Office of the President, and I'm a director in charge of economic affairs and research in the presidency. I think it is great, and it has come at the right time because the name Nelson Mandela stands tall, and not only in South Africa but all over the world and Africa at large, and it's great to associate with. He proved that he was a great leader. He proved he was a great politician. Proved he was a great advocate of democracy, and he lived by those values. So to be associated with this kind of name, it's great. Yeah, and certainly it is us, the products of the school, to go and show that we live by those values that the school espouses, to be able to bring the name up. I have found the knowledge we get here in class is practical. The models we study, the theory, a bit of it, the concepts we learn, they're just practical things that we face on a day-to-day basis. And you can apply those models in your work environment, even in your own life and in your family life, and they work. So that's why I feel that if a chance is, it's an opportunity that we should exploit, and it would. I'm very sure that if part of my team members also gain those skills from here, because what I've been doing is to get the knowledge, go back home, interpret it, and make it user friendly, then take them through the classes, or conduct my own classes. But if they came here and interacted with all those big names and they got those concepts by themselves, I think it would make a very tremendous and fundamental change to our work environment. You come here, mix up with other nationalities, you say experience, you see your problems are common, which is a clear evidence that the problems of public service or public administration and good governance are uniform across the globe. So this place makes, that's what makes this place unique, where we can now all interact and exchange views and share them and jointly formulate solutions to go and address those constraints within our work environment. I would strongly recommend it for people who are working and are in position of effecting the changes. Because when it is the knowledge is acquired by people who are below, who cannot influence people maybe who are superior to them, it can only remain knowledge to them. They may not have a chance to go and apply it. But personally, I have already applied some of this, even before I get my degree. I've already applied some of the models and some of the concepts I've learned from here in my work environment to even a level of cabinet, to at least try and influence policy development, which I find very great. And I would really recommend every person in the public policy management and to try and come and appreciate the concepts that will make public policy a practical aspect of their work environment. Well, my background is banking. I had worked for a long time, about 12 years in the banking sector before I crossed into public service. So when I crossed into public service, one of the most challenging things I experienced and encountered was how come in the private sector policies are formulated and they are implemented to the letter. But then when you get into public service, policies, they are formulated and they are very well talked about, but they are not effectively implemented. So it was a puzzle that was challenging me. And to I mean, to me, I was put into the position of making sure that the government policies, programs, and projects are effectively implemented. So I found myself in a very compromising position to try and use my public sector, private sector experience to try and make a case and see no policies can actually be implemented. I have tried, I have worked, but still there was something that was not coming out clearly, and which is something that I appreciated when I attended this course. Because when you come into this course, you will be taught that some policies are actually meant to work and other policies are not meant to work, and possibly they are promoting a certain agenda and you cannot force them to work, but you can work within those policies, and or you find a way of you work within the space you can influence, and you cannot there are those policies that you can't do much. So I think the knowledge I get from here is that whenever you are confronted with that kind of policy, you need to understand why this policy, why was it formulated, what is it meant to drive, and what is the politics of governance within that policy, and what then are you expected to do. Then you try to define your space and do what you can, and possibly you feel comfortable, and you tend to appreciate the situation where policies are implemented very well, and where policies are not implemented very well, but you also get to understand why. So it is a very, very good place where you really understand the whole aspect of good governance, the whole aspects of leadership, and policy management, and the whole policy program cycle management. Who does what? How do you define the problem? How do you engage others to appreciate the idea you are conceptualizing? How do you turn it into policy? How do you have it implemented? Then how do you monitor its effectiveness? And in the case it is not working, what do you do? So it is a place to be.